Hey, hi, hello. Happy Tuesday. Is it Skinny Tuesday? No, not for me. Anyway, hi. Welcome to a quick edition of some stretching and strengthening. As usual, I'm here to check in with my own body, and I invite you to join me if you feel like it, to whatever degree you feel like it. I'm going to start off with just a little arm swinging, deep breathing, hip swaying, just kind of get things moving, letting go, do a little exploratory twisting, swinging. And then I'm going to bring my attention into the bottoms of my feet, root myself into the earth, hang myself from the sky. Let's do a swan dive down from the hips with a relatively flat back. Making sure not to lock those knees, coming all the way down. Thank you for the love. I appreciate it. It's good to see you out there. Hanging from the hips, just letting the spine unwind, letting gravity do the unwinding. Relaxing the belly, relaxing the back. Give a nice sigh down there. I'm going to roll up, pushing from the feet, stacking one vertebrae on the next, just checking in with the spine. Let's do some shoulder circles, medium circles, breathing in on the way up. And exhaling on the way down. And going the other way. Let's make those big arm circles. Coming the other way. Still breathing in on the way up and exhaling on the way down. I'm going to step into a straddle just so I can not scrape the top of the dome. You can bend the knees to get those involved. And the other way, fill in the lungs on the way up. Wiggling out some ka-chunks. Just letting it go on the way down. One more big breath in. I got a lot of ka-chunks there. Thank you for the love. My ribs are still making everything a little unstable, so I'm just going to do a little pressing and wiggling because that feels good. Shake that out. Let's do little circles with the hands on the wrists. For good measure, I like to do medium, big, small sometimes. Maybe we'll do some high and low too. Expanding and contracting, all those are ways to play. Going the other way with the hands on the wrist, just checking in. With the little bones, do a little jiggle wiggle. Let's do some high lows. It's a little tricky in here, but I can do it. How about expanding, fingers wide, arms wide, opening the chest, opening the hips. Breathing in, expanding the lungs, and then I'm going to contract, coming down into a tight little ball. Folding the body, feeling that in the rib, rounding the spine, getting as small as I can, and then breathing in, expanding into big. See how much space we can take up. Do a little twisting to add to that. And then squeezing out the lungs, squeezing out the body. Rounding the spine, clenching the fists, clenching the torso, pulling up in the pelvic floor. And then one more time. Big breath in, taking up space. Filling the lungs, doing a little twist. Holding there and then contracting.
pushing all the air out, rounding the spine, rounding the fingers and wrists. I'm going to lift the hips, come into a forward fold, and then bending the knees, swinging the arms back, come into a bit of a counter stretch. Enjoying that and coming back to neutral. Shake all that out. Shake it to the left and to the right. I'm going to do another forward fold, again with a relatively flat back from the hips. Swan diving down. Coming down here to hang from the hips. I'm going to put the hands on the floor, stepping these feet out as much as possible. Or I mean as much as necessary, rather. Not as much as possible. Where it's comfortable, so I feel nice and stable. And then I'm just going to play a little bit with hip tilts. You can lift the body onto a relatively flat back position from the hips straight out, or hanging from the hips close to straight down, or wherever, anywhere in between, wherever you end up is fine. Just kind of noticing that. Let's come over to the left side a little bit, pulling with both hands on the foot. I have both feet facing forward in a parallel. You might play with angling them out to the diagonal. See how that changes the stretch in the leg. I'm going to pull them back onto parallel. Come over to the right, using hands on foot and leg to stretch. And again, let's put the feet on the diagonal. Just notice that stretch, how that changes. And then putting them back on the parallel. Coming into forward fold. I'm going to bend these knees a little bit and roll up in that straddle position. Stacking each vertebra on the next. Let's do a little shaking it out. And then I'm going to walk these feet step by step back under the hips. Move that blanket out of the way. Shake things out a little bit. I'm going to step back with this left foot into a nice moderate lunge, pulling the back hip forward, forward hip back, tipping the tailbone under, pressing into that back heel. Lift the arms and push onto the diagonal, pushing out the heel, through the spine, out the fingertips, making sure not to crunch up in those shoulders. Nice and long and strong through the whole body. Still working to pull those hips into a perpendicular line. And lifting the body, tilting the tailbone under again, gazing up for a little contrast. And then I'm going to slide that back heel forward onto the perpendicular line, opening the hips. And slide these feet a little further apart, bending from the hip, coming into a side twisting forward, side twisting aeroplane triangle pose, gazing up past these fingertips, and then bringing these fingertips around to reach for this opposite thigh, gazing down past that long leg for a nice twisting side triangle, giving all those organs a nice wringing out, little hug. I'm going to bring this hand around on the inside of the right leg. Enjoy that deep lunge, and then bringing weight onto the hands, bringing that front foot back to meet the back foot and pressing through the palms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head, pressing into those heels. Still not quite feeling stable enough for push-up through the rib cage there, but I am going to try a gentle cobra-ish pose. I'm going to squeak these feet backwards a little bit, lifting the chest through the shoulders, lifting the eyes, pushing up through the palms and letting the belly just drop, pulling those legs together. Stretch a little bit, a little variety to that stretch by shifting on the toes, And then I'm going to lift the hips rather, pushing back onto the heels in a nice deep triangle pose, pressing the heart toward the center of the earth, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head, pressing into those heels. And then I'm going to walk the feet forward toward the hands, to the under the hips, and hang here again in forward fold. Just letting the belly go, letting the back relax. Giving that a breath or so to unwind. I'm going to bend the knees and swing the arms back and come into that counter stretch again, pushing the hips forward, lifting the chest and eyes. Coming back to neutral. Hi, thank you for the love. I appreciate it. Step back with the right foot now. Again, squaring those hips off by pulling the back hip forward, forward hip back, tipping the tailbone under, pressing into that back heel, making sure that the front toe is not crunching past the knee, or the front knee is not crunching past the toe. That's what I was saying in my head. Bringing those hands up overhead, making sure not to crunch up in the shoulders, and then pushing onto that diagonal line, feeling for that nice long and strong line. Out the heel, through the spine, out the fingertips, still working to square those hips, pulling the back hip forward, forward hip back. Trying to remember to breathe and to smile if you can, or get into the scowling and the holding of the breath. Sometimes that seems more in order. You do what feels good to you, I say. I'm going to shift this back heel forward onto that perpendicular line. Checking out the side plane here, opening the hips, sliding that back foot out a little more and bending from the hips into a side twisting triangle aeroplane pose. I need to give that rib a little adjustment time. And then raising that right hand, gaze up past that fingertip. For those fingertips. Using my left arm and leg against each other for torque. And then I'm going to bring this around the back to reach for that thigh. Gazing out past that long leg. Enjoying a nice hug to all the organs. A little hello for the rib cage there. Unwinding all that, I'm going to bring this hand down on the inside of that right foot and bringing my weight onto my hand. Bring that foot back to meet the back foot. Pressing through the palms, through the arms, through the spine, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head. Pushing into those heels. I'm going to bring the body forward, but a little bit nimbly because I'm still dealing with this rib injury. Bringing legs together, lifting the chest through the shoulders, lifting the eyes, letting the belly drop, pulling those legs together. And then lifting the hips, pushing back through the palms, through the spine, into the heels, tipping the tailbone toward the back of the head. And I'm going to walk these feet forward toward the hands, till they're under the hips. And just relax into a forward fold for a breath or so. Take a little time here to release a little more. Relaxing the belly, relaxing the back. Hanging from the hips, letting the spine unwind. And I'm going to roll up one vertebra at a time, stacking on the next. Wiggle that out. Do just a little bit of body smoothing. Let's do a little free arm swinging, twisting. I hope
hope your Tuesday is off to a terrific start. A thunderific Tuesday is what I'm wishing you. Something like that. Whatever kind of Tuesday you're trying to have is what I wish for you. I hope you're remembering to give yourself a little love. I'm going to do some inversion and some 100 any reps and get off to work. Got my painting, working, yard work clothes on. It's good to see ya. Michael, Nikki. Ciao for now.